Okay, so 29b in the middle. We learned in the Mishnah that you can't have a second reservoir of oil for the lamp because there's a concern that you may take oil out of that reservoir to use for your food, and that will cause that you're extinguishing a fire on Shabbos. However, if it was made by the craftsman that made this lamp, he had already connected the reservoir that it becomes one vessel. It was taught in a brisa that if it's connected with plaster, with charsis, is other type of plaster, other type of clay, so then it's permissible. Then why? Because it becomes one vessel, and we don't have a concern that you're going to take oil out of the actual lamp. What are you saying that if you chibra b'siddur v'charsis, these are not professional attachments? This is just what an amateur would do. So the Gemara says, "Ma yotzer." What does it mean? The craftsman can yotzer, similar to what a craftsman would do. In other words, even if it's not done professionally, it's still considered one utensil, and then we don't have a concern that you're going to take the oil out of the actual lamp. So if it's combined and becomes one piece, then that's good. Okay, Tanya, starting in the brisa. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Pamachas shiftenu balias beis nitza belud." One time, we were spending Shabbos in an attic at the house of Nitza in the city of Lud. They brought us a tube that was made out of an eggshell, mulanu shemen. We filled it with oil, and we placed it on top of the lamp. There was a Canaan. All the great people were there. Tarfon. We learned Rabbi Eliezer wasn't lit. Tarfon was there, and the elders. They didn't say that there's anything wrong with what we did. So, in other words, in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda's opinion was that it's mutter to do this. You can fill up a second reservoir with oil and let it drip into the lamp. And what's Rabbi Yehuda's proof? This brisa tells us his proof. He says he saw this done by the elders. No one said anything. However, they told him, Shani Beit Nitza, this reason. Over there was no decree. Interesting Gemara. Usually when there's a decree, they don't make exceptions. But over here, apparently, these people were Zrizim. Zrizim means that they were going to be very careful not to take oil out. So in this instance, there was no decree. But regularly there is a decree, so you can't bring a raya from that household. Ovin Tzipera, this fellow, Ovin Tzipera, that was his name. He dragged a bench in the attic that was had a marble floor that was above Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar. So Amalei, Rabbi Yitzchak ben Elazar says, if I'm going to be quiet and I'm not going to tell you that you did something wrong, then a disaster could come out of this. What happened? What he's claiming is that because in the instance with Rabbi Yehuda in Lud, they didn't tell him that over there was an exception. And so he thought that it was mutter. And then he argues with the sages and says that it's permissible to have a second reservoir of oil because no one said anything. So over here, I have to say something. You dragged a bench. Gezera alisa de shishat alisa de alma. It could have been a floor that was made out of soil, and that would have been a problem. If it's not on the ground, then it's not considered. Maybe it's not planting, but it's still baina, making a digging inside a house. This is like making a groove. Okay, so what he wants to say is that there's a gzeira, whether it's a soil floor or whether it's a marble floor, there's a gzeira. If you're going to drag it here, you might drag it there. Now, we learned before that you're allowed to drag a bench. We said that it was a davar she'eino miskaven. You didn't intend to make a groove that it should be considered plowing. You just intend to move a bench from point A to point B. The groove that happened wasn't your intention. So Rashi tells us that Rabbi Yitzchak paskins like Rabbi Yehuda, who argues on that. There's machlekes Reb Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda if davar she'eino miskaven is chayiv. Reb Shimon holds davar she'eino miskaven is mutter or pater. Mutter. He holds that it's mutter, and Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's aser. So Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's aser. If he holds that it's aser by a soil floor, so then there's a gzeira on a marble floor. To remember that. So you just imagine that Reb Shimon, he's the author of the Zohar. He's concerned about Pnimius. So he says that it depends on your kavanah. If you don't have kavanah to do a malacha, so then it's mutter. Because it's the kavanah that matters. So that would be Reb Shimon. That's a way to remember. And Rabbi Yehuda would say that no, it depends on the maisa. The fact is, you did something that, regardless of your kavanah, you don't pay attention to the kavanah. You dragged the bench that could make a groove, so it's aser. Okay. Now we have Reish Kanishta de Batra, the head of the community of Batra. That's a city. He dragged the bench in this attic or second floor above Rabbi Yirmiyah Abba. Amalei Kaman, Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabba, Rabbi Yirmiyah the Great tells him, who said you're allowed to drag benches? Reb Shimon. You paskin like Reb Shimon that says that you're allowed to drag a bench, even though it's going to make a groove because you're not miskaven, you don't intend to do a malacha. Maybe Reb Shimon only allowed it in a case where the bench is large and you don't have any other ability to lift it. So Reb Shimon said, okay, you can't lift it, so you can drag it. In other words, plan B, l'chatchila, you should lift it up. You can't, so you can drag it. But Ketanim Yamar, but that was a small bench that you could have lifted up. Just stam to rely on that heter when you're able to do it a different way. How do you know Reb Shimon allows it? The Gemara says a pligi deula. This Reb Yirmiyah Rabbah says exactly the opposite of what Ula said. The Ula machlekas bektanim. Ula said it's the other way. The whole machlekas Reb Shimon and Reb Yehuda, if a davar she'eino miskaven, if something that you don't intend to do is permissible, that's only if you had another way of doing it. But if it would have been in a situation where you don't have any other way, then even Rabbi Yehuda would agree that it's permissible. See that? It's mamish the opposite. Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah said, Rabbi Shimon would say it's aser if you had a second way of doing it. Ula said, Rabbi Yehuda would say it's mutter if you didn't have another way of doing it. The whole machlekes was only by a small bench that's where Rabbi Yehuda says that why do you have to drag it? You could lift it. But if you weren't able to lift it, you could only drag it. Then Rabbi Yehuda would say that it's mutter. So it's machlekes. Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah Nula. Kimasav Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef has a question on this. Reb Shimon Aimer. Reb Shimon says, Geira the mita kisi v'safsol. Reb Shimon says that a person can drag a bed, a chair, or a bench. As long as his intention is not to make a groove. You have over there a bed, and you also have a chair. A bed is big, and a chair is small. So, the fact that Reb Shimon brings both of those cases means that he argues in both. That Rabbi Yehuda would argue if it's a big one, and Rabbi Yehuda would argue if it's a small one. And Reb Shimon argues if it's a small one. So it's a kasha on Rabbi Yirmiyah, Rabbi, and Ula. So the Gemara says, Ula matarz l'tamei, Rabbi Yirmiyah matarz l'tamei. We have answers. Ula can answer and Rabbi Yirmiyah can answer. It goes like this. Ula matarz l'tamei, Ula will explain it. Mita dumya de kise. Look, you have over there several cases. There's a bed, and you have a chair. Now, Ula says that Reb Shimon says that it's mutter for sure by if it's big. But not only Reb Shimon says it's mutter, but even Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's mutter when it's something big. So why do you have to say the case of a mita if that everyone agrees to? The case of a bed, according to Ula, everyone agrees to that. So why did Reb Shimon say that you can drag a bed? If Rabbi Yehuda would argue, we understand. He says, Reb Shimon says you can drag a bed, then Rabbi Yehuda says no. But if Rabbi Yehuda says you're allowed to drag a bed, you're just not allowed to drag a chair, then why did Reb Shimon give that case of dragging the bed? The Rabbi Yehuda doesn't argue there. That's not the machlokes. So Ulo explains, Mita dumya de kisei. That was the type of bed that was a small bed that you can lift. Similar to a chair. Look, we had one of the cases was a chair. Now we said a bed. So the bed is similar to a chair. It's small. So that's how he explains it. He says that if it would have been an actual bed, Rabbi Yehuda would agree. Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah matarsa tamei, and Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah the Great also answers according to his logic. He says like this, Kisi dami demita. He holds that Reb Shimon holds that if it's something small, it's usher to drag because you have another way of doing it, and Reb Shimon only allows you if you have no other way. So he explains, why does it say a chair you're allowed to drag? A chair sounds like a small item. You could lift it up and move it over. He says, no, because one of the examples was a bed. A bed is a large item. And together in that example, you also said a chair. It must be the type of chair that's so hard that to move, it's like a bed. You can't move it unless you have a few people or whatever. It's too hard, so you have to drag it. So that's what it's referring to. It's referring to a large chair that can't be moved. Okay, Mosav Rabbah. Rabbah has a question. It says, Meichrik sus, people that sell clothing. So, Meichrim Kedarkan. They can sell the clothing normally. In other words, they would put on the clothing, they would model the clothing on their own that they're selling. They could put it on and show what it looks like. As long as they don't intend in the sun that it should be protection, or in the rain that it should be protection. Now, we're talking about that they're selling clothing to non-Jews, and the clothing happens to be shatnez. So wearing shatnez is a problem. But if they're not wearing it with the intention of wearing it, their intention is just to show what it looks like, so then that's permissible. However, if it would be raining and they're wearing it and they're intending that they should be protecting them from the rain, or if maybe it's very hot and it's protecting them from the sun, so that would be a problem. But the Mishnah or Brisa, it's a Mishnah. The Mishnah says that as long as they don't intend, Reb Shimon sounds like Reb Shimon's opinion, and that it's a davar she'eino miskaven. If you don't intend, it's not considered an avera, and it's fine. However, v'atznuim mafshilim b'makal achareim. The tznuim, people that are very careful, they put it on a stick behind them. They let it hang. So in other words, they're not actually wearing it, and therefore there's no enjoyment from this. The problem is, anyone can do that. Anyone can put it on a stick. It's similar to like a small chair where anyone can lift. And Reb Shimon says that you don't have to put it on a stick. That means that Reb Shimon would hold that a small chair you can drag, as long as you don't intend. In other words, wearing the garment is similar to dragging the chair. Both of them are causing a malacha that you don't intend. The garment is shatnez, and the dragging the chair is making the groove in the ground. Both of them you could have done differently. Nevertheless, Reb Shimon says that it's mutter. Tiyufta, the Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah Tiyufta. It's a kasha on Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah. Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbah, Rabbi Yirmiyah the Great, said that it's only mutter according to Reb Shimon if you had no other option. Here we see, even if you have other options, it's still mutter. Okay. We have a new Mishnah. Oh. Let's see, is Yitzi there? No, Chaim's there. Okay, good. I'm worried. Usually Jimmy's on. I don't see him. You want to check on Jimmy? Okay. The Mishnah says, here's the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, someone extinguishes a candle. He's afraid. He's afraid to have his candle burning. Why? Because they're non-Jews that didn't allow a candle to burn in your own private house. What is that? That was the Persians that we said that on their holidays, they needed to have the fire only in the base of Avodah Zarah. So they didn't let you burn a candle in your own house. We had that before in the Chanukah Gemara. Or there's robbers. You don't want the robbers to know that there's anyone there, so put out the candle. Or Ruach Ra. I saw one of the translations said bad spirit, that he was actually depressed. Where did I see that? And for some reason, it was better in the dark. Sounds strange, but I don't remember where I saw that. So one of the commentaries. Okay. Or because there's a sick person and he's putting out the candle so the sick person can sleep. So let me explain what's going on. There's something called the malacha she'eina tzricha legufa. You see, a malacha serves a certain function. For example, let's say you dig a hole in the ground. What's the malacha of digging? Well, that's plowing. You need the hole. You're gonna put a seed in there. Let's say you dug the hole because you needed the dirt for whatever. So the malacha wasn't done for the purpose of the malacha, of what that malacha was meant for, of what the original 39 malachas, if that's what it was for. So what's the malacha of extinguishing? Why would someone need to extinguish a fire? Because he needs to make coal. He uses the coal for whatever he uses the coal. So you light it on fire, and then you put it out, and then you have coal. So it's a productive malacha that you're making coal, but when you put it out, you now have coal. What is the coal used for, or whatever? It's easier to light afterwards, or it's used for some other for something. Anyway, so if you put out a candle, not because you want the coal, you want the wick, the ash, to make it easier to light. Not for that, for other reasons. So that's called the malacha she'ein tzricha legufa, and your pater. They said when someone's converting, So he's still not Jewish. He's not supposed to keep Shabbos. So he does one malacha. He turns on a candle. He turns on the light, and that's it. Why is he turning on the light? Not because he needs the light. He's turning on the light because he doesn't want to keep Shabbos. So it's really a malacha shein tzrich legufa. So he's not really violating the Shabbos because it's a malacha shein tzrich legufa. Okay. As they said, like this, they said, the Rambam happens to hold that malacha shein tzrich legufa is chayev. So someone one time said, it was someone that was learning to convert, he became very knowledgeable. So he asked the rabbi, he said, am I really violating the Shabbos? Because it's a malacha shein tzrich legufa. He learned the laws very well. The rabbi said, a non-Jew can rely on the Rambam. Okay. The next part of the Mishnah goes like this. Kechas al haner. If he's concerned about the candle. In other words, he wants to save it. Not the candle, the candelabra. The ner is the lamp. Kechas al hashemen. He's concerned, he wants to save the oil. Kechas al psila. He wants to save the wick. So then, that's already chayiv. Because that is, at least the wick, that's clear. Let's see. Rabbi Yossi says that really the kechas al haner, kechas al hashemen is not the real malacha. It's only the wick that's the real malacha, because that is making a pechem, is the ash or the coal, and that would be the original malacha. Okay, we'll see in the Gemara. The Gemara now says on the top of Daf Lamed, midiktani seifa chayev. The fact that we learned kechas al haner, kechas al hashemen, kechas al psila is chayev, shma mina Rabbi Yehuda. It must be Rabbi Yehuda that holds malacha shein tzricha legufa is chayev, because concerned about the lamp breaking because the fire is burning too close to the lamp or whatever, that's not the original malacha. Original malacha was to make coal. And nevertheless, it says chayev. So Rabbi Yehuda holds chayev. So our Mishnah, we don't have a name for the Tanakama. Kechas al haner, kechas al hashem, kechas al psila. It doesn't say who holds that, but it must be Rabbi Yehuda because it says chayev. Now the question is, reisha b'mayaskinan. The reisha, we said that you were putting it out either because you're afraid of robbers or goyim or ruach ra, or because there's a sick person. Well, how dangerous was all of those situations? So let's discuss the sick person. If it was dangerous, that it was life-threatening, so mutter mi bailei. Why did you say pater? That you're exempt. If someone is sick, that it's life-threatening, you don't say exempt. You say that it's totally permissible. You say even more, you say it's a mitzvah. But whatever the case is, you don't say exempt. If it's dealing with someone that's not life-threatening, chayiv chatas mi ba'alei. Then Rabbi Yehuda holds chayiv. If it's not life-threatening, why is he allowed to put out the candle just for someone that's chayla shem beisakana? What is it? Is a chayla that he's laying down because whatever. It's not a reason to break Shabbos. It should be chayiv. The Gemara says leilam b'chayla sheish beisakana. Really, the reason why he's pater is because it is life-threatening. But the listening mutter, really, it should have said mutter. But because in the seifa we wanted to use the word chayiv, in the end of the Mishnah, we said that if you're just concerned about the candle or the oil, it says chayev. So taninami reisha pater. So to keep it uniform, the chayev versus pater. So in the reisha we said pater. Really, though, the din would be pater. We have a problem. Of a brisa that instead of using the word pater, it says pater avalasser. that goes against the way we wanted to read it. We read it that it's pater and it's really mutter. Why did we say pater? Well, I wanted to keep it uniform with the sefer that says chayev. So the opposite of chayev is pater. But Rabbi Shi has a brisa that says pater and aser. The Gemara says, yeah, that brisa is talking about Ribachel Hashem Beisakana of Reb Shimoni. That brisa is talking about Achil Hashem Beisakana. So how are you allowed to do it if it's Achil Hashem Beisakana? Well, it's the other opinion, where Reb Shimon says, Malach Hashem Tzrich Lagufa is pater. You don't need to make the kol. You're not chayev. You put it out for a different reason, so you're pater. That's why we have a leniency. If the light is on in the bedroom or whatever, you want to sleep, and there's an extra light on, that you can get a guy to turn off the light. Exactly how you tell him, whatever, but you can get him to turn it off. You can't get him to turn it on, because turning on a light is a malacha tzricha legufa. You need the light. Turning off the light is only a malacha tzricha legufa if you wanted to make ash or something, or make coal. And that's not what you're doing. You want to go to sleep. It's a malacha shein tzricha legufa. So there's a leniency of getting someone to turn off. Same thing would be if the stove is on. You're not turning it off because you want to make coal. You're turning it off. You're turning it off because whatever. It's just a waste, or it's too hot, or whatever. You're afraid of a fire. You can get someone to turn it off. You can get someone to turn it off on Shabbos. Daf Yomi is not halacha. On Yom Tov, you can get someone to turn it on as well if you need. You see, on lighting the fire on Yom Tov, lighting the fire on Yom Tov, not from an existing flame, is rabbinic. Lighting a new fire. We always use an existing flame. But to light a new fire, if it's like food for Yom Tov or whatever, you can get a guy. Again, I don't know exactly how to ask him, indirectly or whatever, but I'm not sure. But you can get a guy to light a fire. On Shabbos, you can't get a guy to light a fire. Okay. But to turn it off, we're learning over here, it's Malach Hashem Tzrich Legufa. Okay. Now, now we have a little treat. It goes for 2 pages. Famous Gemaras and Garata. Shol Shilazu Le'elamir Reb Tanchum, the Nevi. They asked this question from Reb Tanchum of Nevi. No, maybe, I don't know how to pronounce it. Nevi. Are you allowed to put out a candle in front of a chayla on Shabbos? Okay. So, Pasach v'yamar. He opens, says like this. Ant Shleima. He talks to him like as if he's right there in front of him. You Shleima. An chachmasach an suchlas nusach. Where's your wisdom? Where's your understanding? Chachma and Bina. It's not enough that your words contradict your father, David. But your words contradict itself. David, your father said that the dead can't praise God. I praise the dead that have already died. And then you go back and you say that a live dog is better than a lion that's dead. So what's going on? David says that the dead can't praise God. You say that the dead are better, the dead are better than those that are alive. And then you say that a live dog is better than a dead lion. You contradict your father, you contradict yourself. Gemara says, like Kasha. Each one is referring to its own concept. This that David said that the dead can't praise God. This is what he means. A person should always be involved in Torah mitzvahs before he dies. Once he dies. Can't do the mitzvahs anymore. God doesn't get any praise from it. I know Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan taught. What is the meaning of the verse? That free, the dead are free, in death he is free. When person dies, he becomes exempt from Torah mitzvahs. Becomes free. Becomes exempt from Torah mitzvahs. So what did Shlomo mean? That I praise the dead that have already died. The Jewish people sinned with the Egel. Moshe says in front of Hashem, he stands in front of Hashem, he says many prayers. Hashem doesn't answer him. When he says, remember, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Avram, Yitzchak, Yisrael, it gets answered. Is it not great what Shlomo said, that he praises the dead that have already died? See, the Avos, they get an answer right away. Another interpretation. The way of the world, Sar, if a minister, a human minister, makes a decree. We don't know if it's going to be fulfilled. If you say that it will be fulfilled, only while he's alive, but once he dies, then everyone drops it. However, with Moshe, he made a bunch of decrees, institutions, and they're still existing. Shlomo isn't correct when he says that he praises the dead. It's referring to Moshe. Yeah, the obvious not Moshe. Another interpretation. Praises the dead. The Rav Yehuda Amarav. The Rav Yehuda Amarav. Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav. Do with me a kindness, one good sign. My enemies should see, and they should be ashamed. Who's saying this? This is in Tillim. Amar David Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David is telling Hashem, Rabbeinu Shalom, Master of the world, Mechali alei siavain. Forgive me for that sin. That sin in David's life is referring to Bathsheba. Forgive me for that sin. Amalai Mechalach. You're forgiven. Amalai Asemi Yais B'chayai. Give me a sign. Amalai B'chayacha Eini Media. In your life, you're not going to get a sign. However, B'chayai Shleima B'nei Chani Media. I'll let everyone know in the life of your son, Shleima. Shabana Shleima is Beis Hamikdash. When Shleima built the Beis Hamikdash, Bikis Lahachnas Aron LeBeis Kodshei Kadashim. He wanted to get the Aron in to the Holy of Holies, and Davku Sha'arim Zebazeh. The gates were closed. Couldn't get it in. Amar Shleima Esrim Ba'arba Renanish. Shleima said 24 songs, V'leinana, but it didn't help. Pasach V'amar, then he says, Shiyu Shiarim Roshechem. Gates, lift up your heads. V'inasu Peschayelam. You'll be lifted, the gates of the world. V'avi Melech HaKaved, and the King of Honor will enter. Ra to Basrei Lemivle, the doors ran after. Is it the doors or the people? I guess the doors wanted to swallow him up. Is it the doors or the people? I'm not.
The Art Scroll says the gates.
The gates wanted to swallow him. Amra Muzer Melech HaKaved. You see, when he says, let the King of Honor enter, they thought he was referring to himself. They wanted to swallow him. So who is this King of Honor that you're talking about? Amar Lahu, Hashem Isis V'Gibar. Hashem, the mighty and strong. He wasn't referring to himself. It's by, like, this is by about Rabbi Eliezer, that he was... it wasn't clear. He was arrested once. It wasn't clear why he was arrested. There's different pshatim. One of them says that he was arrested. And those were the Roman times. They persecuted the Christians. They thought he was a Christian, and he was arrested. Here's why he was arrested. So he says something like, blessed is the true judge, which like Baruch Dayan Emes in whatever language they anyway, the judge hears it and he says, wow, he respects me so much. He said, bless you, let him go. Because even though he wasn't referring to him, he was referring to Hashem. So over here, he says, they think he's referring to himself. So they wanted to swallow him. He says, no, Hashem uses V'gibar. It says, lift up your heads, gates, and let and lift the entrance of the world, and let the King of Honor enter. Who is the King of Honor? Hashem Tzvakis. He's the King of Honor. Nana doesn't help. He's not answered. Kivan Shamar Hashem Alikim. When he says, Hashem, God, don't turn away the face of your anointed. Remember the kindness of David, your servant. Miyad Nana. Then he was answered. At that time, the face of David's enemies they became black, like the bottom of the pot. That shows that they were like ashamed. That Hashem forgave David for that sin. And it's not correct that what David said, that he praises those that are dead already, which is David. So we had three interpretations here. We had the Aves, we had Moshe, and we have David that he's referring to. And this is what it says, Bayem Hashmini, on the 8th day, Shalach Hasam, Vayavarchas Melech, V'yelcha La'aleim, Smechem V'tei V'lev, Al Kol HaTeva Sh'asa Hashem L'David Avdi L'Yisrael Amai, V'yelchu La'aleim. I'm sorry, L'Yisrael Amai. That's the end of the pasuk. What happened was, Shlomo Melech made a celebration at the inauguration of the Beis HaMikdash, the first Beis HaMikdash. Now, the inauguration went through Yom Kippur. And that year, they didn't fast on Yom Kippur. There was such a celebration. Shlomo Melech made a psak based on Kal V'chomer that he had, that they didn't need to fast that year because of the inauguration of the temple. So on the 8th day, I think it means Shmini Atzeres, I think he sends them back home. Maybe the day after Shmini Atzeres, I'm not sure. The whole Sukkot, they are. So they went to their home. And what does that mean? They went to their tents. When the celebration, when they came home from celebrating, the wives were pure. Smechim, they were rejoicing. Because they enjoyed the presence of Hashem. With good hearts. The wives became pregnant and they had male offspring. For all the good that Hashem did to David, his servant, and to the Jewish people. What does it mean for all the good that Hashem did to David? That he was forgiven for the sin. And also for the good that Hashem did to the Jewish people. That he forgave them the sin of Yom Kippur, that they didn't fast that year. The Kamer Shleima, okay, we've resolved the contradiction, the first part, how he contradicted what his father said. Here we're saying, we explain the pasuk where he says that he praises the dead because of the things that they brought. Whether it's that the Avis gave us the kapara for the Egel, or because of the Avis we were forgiven. Moshe's takanas are still being kept, but because of David, the doors of the Beis HaMikdash opened for the Aron. The Kamer Shleima kilakelav chayotev menar yames. What does it mean? What Shlomo said that a live dog is better than a dead lion. This is Rabbi Yehuda Marav, like Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Rav. I'm Rabbi Yehuda Marav. Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Rav. My diksiv. What is the meaning of the verse? Heidein Hashem kitzei midas yami mahi. Heide'am echadalani. Kitzi. Let me know, Hashem, my future. The length of my days. What is it? Tell me. What is how short-lived I am? Amar David l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David says to Hashem, Rabbeinu Shalom, Heidein Hashem kitzi. Let me know my future. Amalei gzerim l'fanei Hashem Heidein kitzi shel basar v'dam. No, that's not how it works here. We have a decree. We don't let people know their future. So midas yamei mahi. So let me know how long I'm going to live. He says no. Gzerim l'fanei Hashem Heidein midas yamei shel adam. We don't tell people that. Heide'am echadalani. Let me know how short-lived I am. What does that mean? Amalai tells him b'Shabbos Tammuz. When he says what he means, Rashi explains. He's asking which day of the week he's going to die. He says it's going to be on Shabbos. He says Amos b'Echad b'Shabbos. I want to die on a Sunday. Amalai kvar igia malchus shleima b'nei chvein malchus negas b'chaverta afilu kum leinima. Can't do that. Sunday, we have an appointment. No, it says Sunday, Shlomo is going to be king. You can't live until Sunday because one kingdom can't go into the next one, even like a hair. She says, okay, I'll sacrifice. Almost Erev Shabbos. I'll die. I'd rather die on Friday. He says, no. One day in your courtyard is better than 1,000, which means I'd rather one day of your Torah study than 1,000 offerings that Shlomo your son is going to bring. I'm not letting you leave early. Kol Yom de Shabbat, we're on now 30b. Every Shabbos have a Yasiv V'Goras Kol Yom. He would sit and he would study Torah. Because the Torah protects a person from the Malach HaMaves. And so he knew it was going to be on Shabbos. So he studied the whole Shabbos. It was the day, the Shabbos, that he was supposed to die. The Malach HaMaves came, but he wasn't able to get him. He wasn't stopping to study Torah. I remember my Abedlei, so what can I do? Havalei bustana. There was a garden or an orchard in back of the house. Also Malach HaMaves, the Malach HaMaves came in Salik. He went, Ubachish Bilani, and he started to shake the trees. Nafik Lamechse, he went to see what's happening. Now, while he's going, he's still studying, but Havasalik Bedarga, he was going on a step. Ifchis, it fell through. Ifchis Darga Mituse, the step fell through from under him. Ishtike, he was silent while he was falling. V'noch nafshe, and then he died. He stopped studying Torah. Shalach Shlomo lebei medrash. So Shlomo sends to the Beis Medrash, Abba Meis, Mutal Bechama. My father died. He's laying in the sun. Klavim shel Beis Abba re'evim, and the dogs of my father's house are hungry. So concerned that the dogs were going to attack the body. Ma esa, what should I do? So Shol Chalei, they sent him back. You can cut up a dead animal and feed the dogs. In other words, the dogs that you're responsible for, you're allowed to feed them on Shabbos. So these are your father's dogs. You can feed them. Cut up an animal and feed them. What about your father, David? You can't carry him actually because he becomes muktzah. But you can put something on him and carry him because he becomes bottled to whatever you're putting on him. So put on him either a bread or a child, a loaf of bread or a child, and then you'll be able to carry the whole bed because of what's on it. Is it not good what Shlomo said? That a live dog is better than a dead lion that you can carry because of that one little thing, and the dead lion you can't carry. Well, that was a long discussion. This was a question they asked the Tarchum of Nevi. Are you allowed to put out a candle in front of a sick person? He starts with this whole elaboration. And then he says, and in the question that you had before you, it says, Ner Kruyin Ner. A candle is called a candle. And a person's soul is also called a candle. Better to put out the candle of a person, means the candle, the lamp that's in his room, before the candle of Hashem, which means a person's soul. Which means you can be Machal Shabbos for a sick person. You can put the candle out. Now Rashi says this is not really where we learn that you're allowed to be Machal Shabbos for a sick person. We learn it from other sources, but it happened to be that there were women and Amei Aretz that had come to hear the drasha, so he gave them this whole elaboration, and this is the darshan. This is how the speeches go by the high holidays, or whatever it was, when all the people come to shul. The rabbi gives a nice mashal and a story, whatever. Okay. Amar Rav Yehuda Breder of Shmuel Bar Shelas, Mishmei de Rav. Rav Yehuda, the son of Rav Shmuel Bar Shelas, says in the name of Bikshu Chachamim Lignei Sefer Keheles. The sages wanted to conceal the book of Keheles. They should dvar seisim zeh because there's too many contradictions in it. Why didn't they conceal it? Because the beginning is Torah and the end of it is Torah. Yeah, if anyone has the old Sansino Tanakh, it's a bunch of volumes, since the Sansino Tanakh. So it's like a scholarly thing. They had two prints of it. One of it, they had many prints, but before the 80s, they had secular commentary in it, non-Jewish commentary. Then they redid it. They fixed it up only for Jewish commentary. But anyway, in the introduction over there to Keheles, Keheles was the one that there's two authors to the Sansino Keheles. It's very interesting because one of them was from and one of them wasn't. That's what it sounds like. So the person, I think he died, in the second author, which is Rabbi Dr. Cohen, Abram Cohen, that did the Sansino. So he argues with the first author. He says he wasn't able to see this because we went to print, and it didn't say he was in England. The other guy was in Cincinnati, I think. So the other guy, I forget his name. He says that Keheles was written by many different people, or something. And then so Abraham, the Rabbi Cohen, says, no, that's the whole drama of Keheles, that it's one author that goes back and forth. Anyway, this is what the Gemara is saying, that Dvar of Seisrim Zeh, there's contradictions in it, but that's so they wanted to conceal it. Why didn't they conceal it? Because it's Torah. The beginning is Torah and the end is Torah. What does it mean the beginning is Torah? Because it says, what benefit is there to a person that he toils under the sun? And they said in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yanai, under the sun, there isn't any benefit. But before the sun, there is. What does it mean, Kodim Shemesh? That means Torah. There was a Chabad song that went something like this, based on the Medrash. Ma Yisrin Adam Michal. And then it says, Ba'malei Shal Torah Yesh Yisrin. I think that's quoting something similar to this, but it's from the Medrash, I think. Okay. Seifei Divrei Torah, what's the end of it? The end of Kehelis, that's Divrei Torah. The Ksiv Seif Devar Kal Nishma, Salakim Yira, Bes Mitzvah of Shemar Kizek Kal Adam. The end of the matter is, after everything has been heard, fear God, keep His commandments, because that is all of man. My Kizek Kal Adam, what does it mean that is all of man? Amar Rabbi Elazar says, Kol Adam Kulei Nivra Ela B'Shvil Zeh. The whole world was just created for this person. This is Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Barkana Amar Shakal Zeh Keneged Kol Adam Kulei. That this person that keeps the Torah is corresponding to the whole world. It means that's how important he is. Shimon ben Azai Yaimer, Barmila Shimon ben Zayma, either Shimon ben Azai or Shimon ben Zayma said, Lei Nivra Kalayom Kula Tzavisl said, the whole world was just created to accompany this person. In other words, to serve this person, to be as the one that keeps the Torah is the purpose of the whole world. I'm not sure what the significance of each of these sayings are. My Dvar of Seisim says that what is the contradictions? Ksiv, Taiv Kas Mischaik, anger is better than laughter. Ksiv L'Schaik Amarti Muhulal. And then he says that laughter, I say, is praiseworthy. Ksiv Shabachtin Yesa Simcha. Says, I praise the joy. And then he says, Simcha Maza Isa. He says, what does happiness do? Okay. Now the Gemara says, like Kasha. There's no problem. Toiv, Kas, Mischaik, anger is better than laughter. What does that mean? Toiv Kasha Kayasa Kadosh Baruch Hu Tzadikim Beilam Haza. The anger that Hashem has and the tzaddikim of this world is better. Mischaik Shem Sameach Kadosh Baruch Hu Hashem Beilam Hazeh. Than the laughter that Hashem has on the wicked in this world. Now, what this means is that the punishment that the tzaddikim get in this world is better than the reward that the wicked get in this world, because punishment that the tzaddikim get in this world is assisting them in the world to come. But the reward that the wicked get in this world is taking away from their reward in the world to come. Okay. To laughter, I said, is praiseworthy. That's the laughter that Hashem gives to the tzaddikim in the world to come. What does it mean of Shabachtin Yesa Simcha? I praise the happiness. That's Simcha Shal Mitzvah. Happiness that a person has in doing a mitzvah. Simcha Maza Isa. What does happiness do? So Simcha Sheina Shal Mitzvah. That's happiness that's not involved at the mitzvah. This teaches you that the Shechina doesn't dwell. This became famous, I think, by Mordechai ben David. He made this into a song. Atzvos, not through sadness, depression. Atzvos, not through laziness. And not through laughter. Kalas Reish. And not through lightheadedness. Not through chatter. What is that supposed to say? Simcha instead of sicha, which means happiness that's not involved in the mitzvah, and not through idle talk. Only through rejoicing of a mitzvah. It's by Elisha. The son, I think it's the son of Achav, Yehiram, Melech Moav, I think was attacking, and he gets all nervous. He runs to Yehoshaphat. the king of the Yehuda area, because the king of Israel joins up with the king of Yehuda. He says, help me go to war against Moav. He says, Yehoshaphat says, isn't there a prophet that you can ask? And anyway, they call Elisha. Elisha tells Yehoram, he says, I wouldn't even look at you if Yehoshaphat wasn't here, or something like that. But then he wants to get prophecies, so they call in someone to make music so that he can become happy, and then through the happiness he'll get the prophecy. Okay. Amar Rav Yehuda, v'chein ledvar halacha. You need to have this happiness also for halacha. Amar Rav v'chein l'chalaim tov, also for a good dream. Because if you go to bed happy, you have good dreams. Which means, what is the halacha part? That before you start a shiur, you're supposed to say a joke. Aini, is that really so? You're supposed to say jokes. Any Talmid Chacham that's sitting in front of his teacher and his lips aren't dripping with bitterness should be burnt. His lips are like lilies or roses. Are dripping with flowing myrrh. Al tikri mar over, don't say flowing myrrh, ala mar over. Rather, flowing bitterness. Al tikri sheishanim, don't say lilies or roses. Ela shashonim, but they're studying. Is the problem. You say that you're supposed to be saying jokes at the shiur when you're learning halacha, and then it says that you have to be bitter. Like kasha. It depends. The teacher or the student. The teacher is supposed to be saying jokes. The student is supposed to be serious. No, both is talking about the teacher. Like kasha. Depends. Before he starts, he's supposed to be very happy. But afterwards, then he gets very serious. Like Rabbah. Before he started the shiur, he would say a joke. The rabbis would laugh. Let's say if Yasser Beimsa, Pasach B'Shmaitza, then he would get overcome with fear and he would begin the shiur. Okay. In Tanya, it says, Rava, the Rebbe has it quotes this Gemara, but it has a different girsa. Rebbe explains that you could think that it's such a great person, Rabbah, that only he would have to say a joke, but not someone that is on a lower level, like Rava. Rava was greater. Rava was the teacher. And then it says, no, even Rava would say a joke, even at a lower level. There was a ha'ara there in Tanya. Kivav Sefer Mishlei Bikshu Lignes. Even the Mishlei Proverbs, they also wanted to conceal. Because there's also contradictions there. Why didn't they conceal it? Amri, they said like this. Sefer Kehelas Lav Einon, Eininan, Bashkechinan Taima. Look, we had the same thing before with Kehelas, but we looked into it and we saw that we gave explanations for it. So, Hachanami Lainen, let's look into it. You'll see if he had answers for Kehelas, which had more complicated questions. So Mishlei also will be able to resolve. What were the contradictions? Ksiv, one pasuk says, Altan ksin ksil kivaltai. Don't answer a fool like his foolishness. Uksiv, ane ksil kivaltai. It says, answer a fool like his foolishness. Like kasha. It's not a question. Haba divrei Torah. Haba mili dalma. Depends. Depends if it's, just 1 second. This is, you're allowed to answer if it's Torah matters. But if it's worldly matters, then don't answer. Someone that came in front of Rebbe. He says that your wife, Rebbe, wasn't faithful, and I lived with her, and therefore your sons are actually my children. It's quite a claim. tells to Rebbe. Amalei, Rebbe tells him, would you like to have a cup of wine? So Shasa, he drank it, upaka, and he burst, he died. Now, I saw in the Ben Yada, Kaishal Yayin, the Rosh Tevis is one of the names of Hashem. It's the same name of Hashem that Moshe Rabbeinu used to kill the Egyptian. Hudas Lakami de Reb Chia. Reb Chia was a student of Rebbe. There's another girsa that it was Rebbe as well. Amalei Imcha Yishti. He says, your mother wasn't faithful. I lived with your mother. Batabana, you're actually my son. It's also a strong claim. Amalei Ritzeincha Shetishta Kaishal Yayin. You want a cup of wine? Shah says he drank the wine and puck and he died. Amar Reb Chia said, Ahani leitzleisel Rebbe d'leil l'shavuyi banai mamzeri. The prayer of Rebbe helps that my banav maybe banai, that his sons, I guess, shouldn't be considered mamzerim. The Rebbe Kavi Masli, when Rebbe would daven Amar Yiratz Mulfanecha Hashem Elokeinu Shetatzileni Hayayim. Oh, it's interesting. In Brachos we had it Shetatzilenu Hayayim. That's what it says on the side. You should save me today, Me'azi Panim, from people that are brazen. It means like have chutzpah. Me'azis Panim, and from chutzpah, from people that are chutzpah and from chutzpah. Now, what does that mean? It says because a mamzer is very brazen. Now, it was daven that he shouldn't have brazenness. That means that his sons shouldn't be called mamzerim. So he daven that his son shouldn't be called mamzerim. What is an example of answering a fool according to his foolishness in Torah, which that's what you do? Rabbi Gamliel was sitting and he was darshing, in the future, a woman will give birth every day. When Mashiach comes, pregnant and giving birth together. I mean, she's still pregnant, she's giving birth. This student laughed. It's impossible. We never saw that before, and there's nothing new under the sun. It's impossible. I'll give you an example. Showed him a hen, a chicken. It gives birth every day. So yes, Ram Gamliel Kadarsh, Ram Gamliel taught that the trees are going to give fruits every day. It will carry a branch and will make fruits. Just like the branches, they grow every day. The branches grow. The fruits are also going to come out every day. That Talmud laughed. There's nothing new. How is it going to give fruits every day? Showed him the caper bush. The caper bush has many different types of produce. So it has the branch, it has the young branches you can also eat. There's the leaves you can eat. So there's fruits, there's produce that comes from it every day. Okay. So Yasser ben Gamliel v'Kadarish, Rabbi Gamliel was sitting, was teaching. See that that Eretz Yisrael is going to give out gluskais. How does it translate gluskais there? Klimelas is wool, I think. Wool garments. What is gluskais? Treats.
Ready-made bread rolls.
What is that word? Ready-made what?
Bread rolls.
Oh, okay, bread. Ready-made
Isn't
bread.
it the same as gluska yafa in the piece of nice cake?
Nice cake, good. So it's going to come out from the ground. Shenemar ye pieces barbarets. There'll be abundant grain on the land. Talmud. This Talmud laughed. There's nothing new. I'll show you an example in this world. He showed him truffles and mushrooms you could eat just like that. bar kaira. He showed him that around a palm tree, there's a type of a young palm tree. There's a type of cloth that grows around it. He says, you see, it's already you have this cloth that grows on the tree. Let's go further. Tanar Abanan. Start in the Bryce Lelim Yedaman Vasan Kehilal Valye Captain Kashamai. On the last Gemara, what did we see over there? Rabbi Gamliel, he taught that the woman will give birth, the trees will give fruits, and the earth will give out. Okay. So a person should always be a humble like Hillel and not be a captain. What's a good word for captain? Someone, what's a good translation for captain? Like a captain Malamed.
It's stern.
Stern. Shouldn't be stern like Shammai. There's a story, two people. They made a bet. We're on top of Lamed Aleph, 31. Anyone that's going to go and make Hillel angry will get 400 zuz. The Ben Yehuda associates the 400 with Klipa. He says, like the 400 men with Asa, 400 is a number that's associated with Klipa. One of them says, I can go, I can make Hillel angry. I say, that day was Erev Shabbos. Hillel was washing his head. Halach Vavar al Pesach Beis, he goes to the entrance of his house. Amar Mikan Hillel. He says, is there someone here? Hillel, Mikan Hillel, is Hillel here? Nesatif. Hillel wraps himself up. The Yatzel across, he goes out. Amalei B'ni, Matam, my son, what would you like? Amalei Shaili Yesh Lishla, I have a question. Amalei Shal B'ni Shal. He says, my son, ask. He says, Mipnei Rashem Shal Bavliim Segelgelois. Segelgelois. He says, why are the heads of the Babylonians? Segelgelois either means like a segel, like triangular, or it means round. Amalei B'ni Sheila Gedela Shalta. Oh, it's a very big question. They don't have smart midwives, good midwives. Halach v'imtin shachas. He waits an hour. The Chazar v'amar Mikan Hillel. He comes back. He says, is there someone here at Hillel? Nesatif Yatzel Krasa. He wraps himself up and he goes out. Amalei B'ni Matam Avakish. What do you need? Amalei Shaila Yesh Lilish. I have an important question. Amalei Shal B'ni Shal. Ask. He says, my name shall Talmudim Trutais. Why are the eyes of the Talmudim, Trutais either means that they're teary eyes or they're round. They don't have that little area in the eye where, I don't know what it's called, they're close to the nose. Is there a word for that? It's not oval shaped. Yeah, what is it called?
Epicanthus?
Epicanthus, maybe.
I think so.
Okay. So Amalei B'ni, Shaila Gedela Shalta, it's a very important question you're asking. Neshidarim Ben Achilas, because they live in where there's sand. It would cause the wind to blow. The sand would blow, the wind would blow the sand and it would get stuck in their eyes. So it's round, they don't have that, so the sand doesn't get stuck. Okay. He waits another hour. Mikan Hillel. He says, is there someone here? Hillel. Nesativ Yatzel across. He wraps himself. He comes out. What would you like? I have a question. Shal B'ni Shal. Says, why are the feet of the Africans wide? Wide feet. Very good question. It says, because they live in the swamps. What does that do? Well, I guess they live in the swamps. They're wider. It's like flippers. Or maybe they didn't wear shoes. They didn't wear shoes, so the feet spread out. They didn't have support. The feet spread. Amalei Shailas Harbe Yeshli. I have a lot of questions. And Monsieur Ani Shematichis. I'm afraid you're going to get angry. He sat down next to him. He says, no, you can ask anything you want. Amalayatu El Shekarinais Chanasi Yisrael. You're the Hillel they call the Prince of Israel. Amalei Hain says yes. Amalei Amatahu LeYirbu Kamaisach Israel. It should not be like you. It should not be more like you in Israel. So Amalei Benim Ipnei Ma. Why? What did I do? I'm playing Meshavarati Al Yadcha Dalad Me'azuz. Because I lost because of you 400 coins. Amalei Habizar Baruchacha. So you should be careful with your mood, I guess. Kadayu Hil Shatabit Al Yadi Dalad Me'azuz Vidalad Me'azuz. It's worth it to lose. It's worth it for Hillel that you should lose 400 zuz and another 400 zuz. V'Hillel Yakvid, but Hillel shouldn't get angry. Okay. Commentaries here discuss what is the significance of these three questions. Just 1 second. Sarah, ask him to lower the sound. Make it quieter. Ask him to make it quieter. So the Marsha says his own interpretation that they're dealing with three bad characteristics. I think the head of the Babylonian that he was asking about arrogance, I think. And then the eyes was talking about jealousy. And then the feet, I don't remember. Each one, there was a lesson in each one of these. Yeah, he says, the head was referring to arrogance. Ruach Gavaya. Says the wealthy people, he tells them about that it's Segalgalim, it's round, that's like the Galgal HaChazer because the money comes and goes. Why is this? He says because they're not smart. The Chayes aren't smart. Pikchais. He says Kal Misha Meskaya is a Shaita. And that's this is a bad attribute that they have in Babylonia. Quotes another Gemara that Gasaruch went into Babel. Why the eyes of the Talmudim? He says this is not jealousy. This is they followed their eyes like Shimshon followed his eyes. They live amongst the chaylos in the sand. It says because they live a mundane life. That's why they follow their eyes. They don't have any kedusha. This is why are the feet of the Africans wide? It says they like to gather money. It says because they live bein bitzei mayim. They live amongst the people that just like ma betza, that they just like to hoard. They just want to gather things. Okay. Let's go a little further. Where was
that?
Sorry?
Where did you read that from?
I just was reading the Marsha.
The Marsha.
Yeah, in the Chidush Agadas. The Benya Yada comments on the Marsha, quotes the Marsha, he comments, he says that he sees it differently and he writes some other... Okay, there's a story. A guy comes to Shammai. He says, how many Torahs do you have? He says that we have two. We get ready for the answer. The written in the oral. Amalei, he says to Shammai, I trust the text, but I don't trust the oral tradition. I want to convert, but I just want the written law. Garba, he screamed at him, he chased him out with anger. Bulifnei Hillel, Gaira, he comes to Hillel and he converts him. It doesn't even go through the whole seminar, the whole course, he just converted. Yay Makama, the first day Amalei, he starts to teach him the Torah, converted, he has to know. Amalei Aleph Beis Gimel Dalet, teaches him Hebrew. L'machar apichle, the next day he tells him Tafshin Reish Kuf, tells him the opposite. Amalei va'esmalei amrtli achi, yesterday you didn't tell me that, yesterday you did it in the other way. Amalei lavalai didi kasamches, look, you're relying on me, right? How do you know yesterday was correct? You think what I told you yesterday? If you're relying on me, so then you have to trust me also for the oral law. You see, you can't get around it. You have to rely on. It's impossible to have the written law without the oral law. Shuv Maisa benachri yechad shbalaf neshami. There's another story. Amalei Gareni amanash talmidina kol Torah kula kashni yemidal regalachas. Teach me the whole Torah while I stand on one leg. Dachvu b'amasabini. Chased him with a yardstick, a measuring stick. Shabiyadi that he had. Bolifnei Hillel comes to Hillel. Hillel converts him. Then he has to teach him. So he says, what's hated to you, to your friend, don't do. So we call it Terakula. This is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Zil Gemar, go and study the rest. That everyone forgets that part. Zil Gemar. You have to study the rest also. Okay. Rashi says, what is your friend? Don't do to your friend. It's talking about Hashem. It's first pshat. Second pshat means don't do to your friend, means don't steal, don't commit adultery, other mitzvahs. What you don't want to yourself, don't want to others. The Alter Rebbe in Tanya says that, what does this mean? Perek Lamed Beis. He says, how are you able to have Avos Yisrael? That's because Tikar Nafshe Be'inav, that the Iker part, your main life is your neshama. And if you have, your main life is the neshama and the guf is secondary, so then you'll be able to keep the whole Torah and you'll also see yourself as one with all the Jewish people. The story of a non-Jew that was walking behind the Beis Medrash. V'shama kol sefer. He hears the sound of the sefer. Sefer here means the teacher. These are the garments that you should make. The breastplate, the ephod is the apron. Amar halal lami. Who wears these nice clothing? Amar le'kain gadol. Says go to the kain gadol. Amar eisi nachri b'atzmai. This the guy tells himself, Eilach v'eskai b'shul sheyesimuni kain gadol. Oh, I want to dress like that. I'm going to convert. They'll make me the kain gadol. I'll be able to wear that nice clothing. Olafnei Shammai comes to Shammai. I'm like, Gaireni says, convert me. I'm not sure tesimini kain gadol. I want to be a kain gadol. Dachu b'amasabini. He chased him out with a stick. Shabiyadi that he had in his hand. Olafnei Hillel comes to Hillel. Gairi Hillel converted him. You think he could become a king? You don't know the ways of the kingdom? You have to learn the ways of the kingdom. He starts to learn. He's reading. When he reaches the pasuk of Azara Karev Yumas, a stranger that comes close to do the avodas put to death. Who's this talking about? What type of stranger? David Melech Yisrael. Even David comes from Yehuda. He wasn't a Kayan. So the convert makes a kal v'chemer. The Jewish people are called sons of Hashem. Because of his love, Shavim, Karle B'ni B'chari Yisrael, the firstborn sons of Hashem. But nevertheless, regarding them, it says, that a stranger that comes close to the service is put to death. Ger, Hakal, a convert. It's less significant than the Yisrael. Shabbat, he just shows up, with his staff, with his traveling bag. It's like a newcomer. Alachas kama v'kama, for sure, he can't do the service of the Kohen Gadol. So Bolifnei Shammai, he comes to Shammai, Klum Roy Ani Lias Kohen Gadol. He says, was I worthy to be a Kohen Gadol? I don't know why he's going back to Shammai. Why is he telling? Shammai knew that, and he now knows it. What's he telling? the next part is the significant part. Bolifnei Hillel, there's a commentary there that explains it. Comes to Hillel, Amalei Anvisanusan Hillel. Anvisan Hillel, you humble Hillel, Yenuchel brachas al reishcha. Should be blessings on your head. Shekravtani tachas kanfi ashchina. That you brought me close to the Shechina. So even though you didn't tell me all the information before, but you should be blessed. You brought me close to the Shechina. Liyam nizdavku shloshtan l'makom echad. Turns out that these three converts, the one with only one stir shabiksav, the one that wants on one foot, and the one that wants to dress like the Kohen Gadol, they came to one place. Amar kaptenusi shel Shammai bikshel etadenu min ha'olam. The sternness of Shammai wanted to take us out of the world, but on Vesnusi shel Hillel karvanu tachas kanfi hashchina. But the humility of Hillel brought us close to the Shechina. Okay, let's leave it over here.